Eighth grade, Mr. Herzberg here. Today is April 17th, Friday. Yay, we made it to Friday, which means Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Ta-da! Time for part 2 of Fahrenheit 451. And we're going to be doing our journal and going over Wednesday night's questions. So, let's get started. In your journal for today, remember, central ideas. Central idea is your overall message the author's trying to say in one sentence. Sometimes two, but shorter the better. We've got about 6 or 7 paragraphs here about how to know if your child is deaf. Okay? So, deafness is a serious misfortune, and it's something no one wants to deal with, but it's something we have to, and the sooner the better. So, read through this today, and then the question at the end says, identify the central idea and the supporting ideas that develop it. On a separate sheet of paper, write an objective summary of the text. So you're doing 2 things. I want the central idea and then summarize what you just read in 5 sentences, okay? Summarize the central idea, 1 sentence, 5 sentences for what everything was about, for a total of 5 sentences, okay, or 6 sentences, okay? Great, remember, central idea is just what the author is trying to say overall. All right. Let's move on to our good friend Fahrenheit 451. So, homework from the other night. Let's do this first. Montag and Mildred think someone's at the door. Why doesn't the door voice tell them if someone's there? Well, Montag has turned the door voice off because they're reading books. He doesn't want to be disturbed. What does Mildred think is at the door, and what is at the door? Mildred thinks it might be Captain Beatty. She thinks it might be a neighbor, but it's actually the mechanical dog from the firehouse searching for a lawbreaker. What is Montag thinking about when he says he saw a snake? Now, immediately you probably thought, what the heck, Mr. Herzberg, a snake? No, a snake is actually a metaphor here for the tubes that were coming out of his wife when they came and she drug overdosed, and they had to essentially do pumped her and gave her a blood transfusion. And he referred to the tubes coming out of her as like a snake. Okay. What is the rumor Montag has heard? The rumor he's heard is that the rest of the world is starving and going into complete chaos. Meanwhile, America is not. But are they? In this book. What does Montag remember when he is wondering where to get a teacher? He remembers that they were investigating a professor from a college some years back, and that he had some information on where he might find him. Who is the English professor? Mr. Faber. F-A-B-A-R. Or is E-R? I don't remember. Mr. Faber is the professor. Why did the last liberal arts college shut down in this world? Because they don't want education. A college is a place of education, a place of knowledge. They don't want that in this world. So they burned down or destroyed all the colleges and fired all the teachers and professors. And Mr. Faber is the last one. One of the last ones. When Faber was about to leave Montag, he said some things. What did Montag think he was reciting? He tells Montag some things about the Bible and about some of the philosophical books that he has. What does Faber mean when he says, I don't talk things, sir, I talk the meaning of things here, and I know I'm alive? He says there's no way to know you're not alive except by searching and reading and educating yourself. What does Faber give Montag at the end of their meeting? I'm going to leave that one up to you. I'm going to give you all the answers, guys. Come on. Think about it. What are some of the other books that Montag asks Faber about? All sorts of things. Philosophical books. The Bible, he asks him about literature, plays, nonfiction, fiction. Why is a Faber afraid to ask? Because Montag's a fireman. Faber's experience with firemen at this point has not been good. He's afraid if I tell this guy, he's going to go back, and they're going to come back and kill me. Why is Mildred excited? A new show is coming on, one of her favorite channels, and it's something about a clown. What is the name of the show that Mildred plans to watch? I believe it's like the White Clown or the Orange Clown, one of the two. What question does Montag ask Mildred? He asks her if she is truly happy and if she loves him. Interesting stuff. Getting deep. Okie doke. Let's move on and let's read some of the chapter. Part 2. Remember, we're just going in 10-page increments. You're going to go for tonight from page 77, and you will stop at page 87. And I'm going to start the reading at 77, okay? I'm going to start at the top where it says, I'm sorry, one has to be careful. So this is the conversation picking up between Montag and the college professor Faber, and he sought out Faber to help him understand all these books that he's been reading. Remember, Montag's reading books now, and he doesn't understand them. He hasn't read books before, and he doesn't understand half of this stuff, and he needs someone to help him. Sorry, Montag, one has to be fretful. He looked at the book under Montag's arm and couldn't stop. So it's true. Montag stepped inside and closed the door to the professor's house. Sit down. Faber backed up as if he feared that the book Montag had might vanish if he took his eyes from it. Behind him, though, the door to a bedroom stood open, and in that room a litter of machinery and steel tools were strewn upon a desk. Montag only a glimpse before Faber, seeing Montag's attention diverted, turned quickly and shut the door to his bedroom, and stood holding the knob with a trembling hand. His gaze returned unsteadily to Montag, who was this time now seated, with his book in his lap. That book? Where did you get it? I stole it. Faber for the first time raised his eyebrow and looked directly into Montag's face. You're brave. No, said Montag. My wife is dying. A friend of mine's already dead. Someone who may have been a friend of mine was burnt less than 24 hours ago. You're the only one I knew might be able to help. Just to see. To see. Faber's hands itched on his knees. May I see the book? Oh, sorry. Montag gave him the book. It's been a terribly long time. You know, Montag, I'm not a religious man, but it's been a long time. Faber turned the pages, stopped here and there to read. It's as good as I remember. Oh, Lord, how they've changed it in our own parlors these days. Christ is one of the family now, and I often wonder if God even recognizes his own son the way we've dressed him up. Or hasn't dressed him down. Anyway, he's a regular peppermint stick now, all sugar, crystal, and saccharin, which he isn't making veiled references to certain commercial products that every worshiper absolutely needs. Faber sniffed the book. Do you know that book smell like nutmeg or some spice from a foreign land? You know, I used to love to smell books when I was a boy. Lord, there were a lot of lovely books once before we let them go. Faber turned the pages. Montag, you're looking at a coward. I saw the way things were going a long time back. I said nothing. I'm one of the innocents who could have spoken up about when no one would listen to the guilty, but I did not speak, and thus I became guilty myself. And when finally they set the structure to burn the books using the firemen, I only grunted a few times and subsided, for there was no others grunting or yelling with me by then. No, it's too late now for me, Montag. Faber closed the Bible. Well, why did you come here? Mr. Faber, no one listens to me anymore. I can't talk to the walls because they're yelling at me. I can't talk to my wife. She listens to the walls. I just want someone to hear what I have to say. Maybe if I talk long enough, it'll make sense. Can you understand to maybe teach me what I've been reading? Faber examined Montag's thin blue jowled face. How did you get so shaken up? What knocked the torch out of your hands? You're a fireman. I don't know. You see, we have everything we need to be happy, but we aren't happy. Something's missing, Faber. I looked around, the only thing I positively knew was gone was books. You know, I'd burned in 10, maybe 12 years now. So I thought maybe books might be the thing to help me. You're a hopeless romantic, Montag. You know, it'd be funny if it weren't serious, but it's not books you need. You know, it's some of the things that were once actually in the books. The same things could be in the Parler families today. The same infinite detail and awareness could be projected through the radios and TVs, but they're not. No, Montag, it's not books you're looking for. Take it where you can find it, in old photograph records, old motion pictures, maybe even old friends. Look for it in nature. Look for it in yourself. Books were just a type of receptacle where we stored a lot of things, where we were maybe afraid we might forget. You know, there's nothing magical in them at all. The magic, Montag, is only what books say. How they stitched the patches of the universe together into one garment for us. Of course you couldn't know all this. Of course, you still can't understand what I mean when I say all this to you, Montag. You're intuitively right, though. That's what counts. 3 things are missing. 1. Do you know why books, such as this one here, are so important? It's because they have quality. And what does the word quality mean, Montag? To me, it's texture. This book has pores, it's features, the books can go under the microscope. You'd find life under the glass streaming past the infinite profusion. The more pores, the more truthfully recorded details of life per square inch you can get on a single sheet of paper, the more literary you are. That's my definition anyway. Telling detail, fresh detail. You know, a good writer's touch. You know, they often work. The mediocre ones run a quick hand over her. The bad ones rape her and leave her for the flies. So now, Montag, do you see why books are hated and feared? They show the pores and the faces of our lives. The comfortable people want only wax moon faces, poreless, hairless, expressionless. We are living in a time when flowers are trying to live on flowers instead of growing on good rain and black loam. Even fireworks, for all their prettiness, come from the chemistry of the earth. Yet somehow, we think we can grow, feeding on flowers and fireworks without completing the cycle back to reality. Do you know the legend of Hercules and Antilles? The giant wrestler whose strength was so incredible so long as he stood firmly on the earth. But when he was held rootless in midair by Hercules, he easily perished. If there's something in that legend for us, Montag, today, in this city, in our time, then I am completely insane. There you have it. It's the first thing I said we need. Quality, texture of information. What about the second? Good question. Leisure. Mr. Faber, we have plenty of hours of leisure. Yes, hours. But time to think? No. If you're not driving 100 miles an hour in our world at a clip where you can't even think of anything else but the danger, then you're playing some game of sitting in some room where you can't argue with the 4-wall television. Why? Is the television real? It's just immediate. It has dimension. It tells you what to think and blasts it in your face. It must be right. It seems so right. It rushes you on so quickly to its own conclusions, your mind hasn't had time to protest. What nonsense. Mr. Faber, the family is people. I beg your pardon, Montag? Well, my wife, she says that books like this, they aren't real. Thank God for that. You know, you can shut them. Say, hold on a moment, you play God to it. But who has ever torn himself from the claw that encloses you when you drop a seed in a TV parlor? It grows you any shape it wishes. It is an environment as real as the world. It becomes and is the truth. Books, well, books can be beaten down with reason. But with all my knowledge and skepticism, I have never been able to argue with 100-piece symphony orchestra, full color, 3 dimensions. And being in and part of those incredible parlors, as you see, Montag, my parlor is nothing but 4 plaster walls. And here, he held out 2 small rubber plugs for my ears when I ride on the subways. Denim stitrophists, they toil, not neither do they spin, said Montag with his eyes shut. Where do we go from here? Do you think books will help us? I'm going to stop there, guys. Great conversation here between Montag and Mr. Faber. Just wonderful about the things that we need, why books are the way they are, and why in this world they've been seen as this horrible, horrible thing. And he says, smell the books and look at them. And he explains to them that there's something about books that give us life, allow us to live. So I'm going to stop there. If you have any questions, guys, come into the Google Meets tomorrow from 2 to 2:30. I can stay longer if necessary, and we'll talk, okay? See you guys later.